Hey everyone, this is episode 2 of Venture with Gianpaolo Sellitto, and this episode I have a guest. His name's Kushagra Jindal, and he's one of the very first friends I made at university, and he's a really high-achieving student. So I have to say that we sat with each other in person to speak, and this was the first time meeting with him after knowing each other for about a year, since we both did our first year online. And of course, we practiced social distancing and wore masks. So let's get into it. Okay, hello everyone. I'm with Kushagra Jindal, and today we're going to talk about going the extra mile, and I'm going to introduce you to Kush now. All right.
Hey guys, I'm Kush. Well, my full name is Kushagra Jindal, but I guess so that people don't mispronounce my name, I've kept it as Kush for a while now. I'm coming from Singapore, so I'm originally from India. I was there for about 13 to 14 years, and then I relocated to Singapore, so I guess that's where my main high school experience was. And today I'm in Toronto, and I actually just moved exactly about 3 weeks ago, so it's definitely been an interesting experience. So in terms of Singapore, I feel like the lifestyle there was definitely quite different both to India and to Canada, I guess. So it's like I've definitely had 3 different experiences, even though I've been a short while in Canada. But in Singapore, the high school system, I was in an international school there. So the curriculum was pretty much what you would expect from any other international school. But I did have to take like a range of subjects. So, I wasn't just focused on business, right? I had to take up a science course as well. But honestly, since like around grade 8, grade 9, I always knew I was kind of a numbers guy. I think maybe that comes from like maths or maybe my dad because he's a finance guy. So, we'd always be discussing what's going on around the world because, of course, general knowledge is important, guys. So, I guess that's where my kind of passion for not even passion, at that time it was more like understanding that, okay, I'm probably going to like business. So I took up business courses in grade 11, 12 after that. And here we are at university because after that I was like, okay, I clearly don't have that much of a passion for science. So we'll go into business, see where it goes. So I decided to apply to Canada. Now, why did I do that? I always knew US wasn't exactly the location I wanted to be at. And amongst the other locations that were possible, there was Canada or studying in Singapore. Now, Singapore is a very small country. It's like a dot on the map, if you guys know. So for me, having been there for around 5-6 years was more than enough. And I was like, I want to get out, right? You need that. You need the freedom. Of course you do.
And very ambitious, yeah.
Yeah, so Canada was the right choice. And I picked U of T mostly because the program here for business especially is quite extensive. Extensive to the point that it's very hard as well. But it's quite nice so far. So yeah, that's where I am today.
That's fantastic. And I also want to highlight right now that you speak 3 languages, and that's really important to have in business, and communication is everything. And if you want to add to that, how it's certainly appealing to employers.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, in terms of 3 languages, I guess French, I'm not exactly super fluent in, but my high school level of French was pretty high, which is so I guess I can have a conversation in French if I want to, a basic one. Like if I was to go to France, I could get by, right? But it's not like I can really talk fluently. But I think the important thing with these languages is that I feel like language development is not just about being able to communicate with people. It also allows you to just really understand the sense of culture and just how people like to communicate with each other. There's a lot more that goes into language than just the fact that I can speak these words, right?
Exactly.
Being able to speak in Hindi, English, fluently, it's a mix because it keeps me in line with India as well. Like every time I see someone who's Indian here, the first thought is she probably speaks Hindi, right? And it's so I guess that it helps me because I am a very social guy. I like to talk to people, so languages come and they play an important role. So yeah,
great quality to have. So so now you're here with me at Ramen Commerce, and you chose to specialize in finance and economics. And this is an extremely competitive path, and why did you choose it, and where are you going from here?
Right. It is definitely competitive, but honestly, if in today's world, like there's just a lot of competition in a lot of fields. I mean, you're gonna see in like a few years, you're gonna see almost everybody going for this comp science degrees, right? I mean, that's because the future is tech, so everybody loves computer science, so there's going to be competition there too. I feel like at the moment, it also feels like it's way too competitive because you're in a business school, right? So everybody's thriving for the same thing. You see everybody doing something or the other. You're like, what are you doing? But for me, I guess even I personally can't possibly know exactly where I'm going to end up after graduation, because I don't exactly like to have that confirmed path that, like, I've decided that I'm doing this and I will do this. Yeah. I have in line, I know for a fact that I'm interested in finance, and I'm hoping like to go into consulting actually, which is not exactly the most typical fin and eco thing. For people who usually specialize in finance and eco, they usually go into investment banking. That's like the cliche, I guess, right? But personally, I guess my personality or my just interests don't really align with investment banking. Like, because investment banking comes with a lot of things, right? You're gonna have a work schedule which is insane.
Exactly.
It's great. It's if you can pull it off, man, perfect. But it's hard. So, and for me, I guess it comes back to the fact that I like talking to people. I'm an extrovert, and consulting really lines up with that kind of work, right? Because consulting is a lot of client work. You talk to new clients, you have to establish a connection with them and all, which is why I kind of decided to go into consulting. Now, the thing is, that's why I kind of want to change my specialization as well, right? That's the thing. Everybody thinks of this as a very abstract idea that, like, you shouldn't switch it, you should stick with it. It's like, you don't need to. I mean, right? Like, you're here to explore what you're actually interested in. Exactly. So after 1 year of fin and eco in my second year, if I feel like this isn't exactly the right path for me, I will change to management, because it provides a lot more flexibility, right? Yes. Like, what's the objective here? The objective is that over the next 3 years, you're gonna learn the subjects or topics that are gonna be useful to you, right? Management, while people kind of undermine it, I guess sometimes, which just not makes sense to me, by the way, is it offers you the flexibility to add any type of other finance courses that you want. So while I'll be able to do all the finance courses which I would do in this specialization, I can really do what I enjoy. Yeah. So that's the aim right now, that I'll change to management in my next year, and because I feel like that'll definitely align with more what I want to do. So
yeah. And there is a stigma that's associated with switching out of your program, especially from finance and economics to management. But at the end of the day, it's not really about your specialization. It's more of what you can make of it, and that you're gonna end up doing what you love.
No, man, exactly. I mean, like, that's the thing. If you ask a lot of employers, I don't think they'll even understand the differences between fin and eco and management within Rotman. Yes. For them, what are they looking at? They're looking at that you're a Rotman student, you have this GPA, this is the stuff that you've done. I really don't think a lot of them are going to be like, ooh, he switched from fin and eco to management. Right. Oh, I can't give him a job. Yeah. So these things are definitely trivial, but at the same time, when you come into uni the first year, you're going to hear a lot about it. Like, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Right. But it's rubbish. I feel like it's very personal to everybody. Yeah. I mean, the kind of person you are, the kind of traits you have, it defines the kind of things you're going to end up doing, right? Had I listened to everybody in my first year, I'd be doing the cliche Rotman path, which is go into investment banking. If you don't do investment banking, you're not doing it right. No, there's just so much you can do. Yeah. And it's different for everybody. So,
and it's important. It's even taught here, like organizational behavior. We talk about knowing thyself, and it's important. It's more or less the key to figuring yourself out and using that to build your soft skills and improve yourself as a whole.
That's the thing. Everybody has a certain stance on life, right? You have someone's objective is solely to make money. Everybody's definition of life after graduation is different, right? Some people have a very straight objective that they want to go into a firm, make a lot of money, and for some people it's not about that. For some people it's if they're happy, they're going to be fine. Like, right? Success has a lot of definitions. Exactly. And so for me, I mean, do I want to make money? Well, yeah, Of course, I love money. But at the same time, is that the only thing that matters to me? No, because if I were to do that, it wouldn't line up with my personality, right? That's when you kind of explore what is the type of work that you enjoy, right? For me, this idea of being a person who can help a firm in need, that's desirable to me, right? That's what consulting is about, right?
Yes.
In the basics, consulting is, you know your stuff, a client or a small firm needs your help. You're able to help them out, and I feel like if I can do that, it's pretty good because you're actually making a positive difference. Sure, it's not like maybe, I mean, it could be. I was thinking like in terms of environmental and other social aspects, maybe it's not directly related to that, but in a way, if I'm able to help out someone else, that lines up with more my personality, that's the thing. If you're doing something that lines up with your strengths and attributes, that's probably one of the only ways you're going to be successful in that field, because even if you're doing something that you hate, you can do it for 4 years, 5 years, maybe 8, you will at some point, you will hit your breaking point. You'll be like, what was the point of all of this?
Right,
I'm not even
exactly.
happy. So it is important to know yourself, because if you don't, you need to, and I think you need to take time for it, right? Like I feel people underestimate the importance of taking some time to just really understand your preferences, because everybody is so used to comparing themselves to others. They're gonna look at, hey, person A is doing this, person B is doing that, I must be doing that too.
Yeah.
Oh, right? You don't understand what you like, and I guess that's why the idea, you need to be confident enough that the path you're choosing, you know that that's what you want to do.
Exactly.
Right? And other people can talk rubbish about it, but that should not matter. But it's easy for me to say, right? It's definitely easy for me to say, and a lot of the times I'm doing what I'm saying as well. But
it is hard to avoid the judgment.
100%.
Yeah.
But it's important, because that, according to me, is how you're going to be happy later on. So
Exactly. So you are really into consulting and you have the work experience. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Sure. In terms of the work I mean, this is where once you kind of understand the kind of stuff you like, you would want to start doing stuff that's tailored to that kind of field. Now, consulting involves, if you talk about, there's both technical skills and soft skills, right? Technical skills come with simple software such as PowerPoint or Excel. Now, everybody knows what PowerPoint and Excel are, but are you really maximizing its utility? There's a lot of things you can do on PowerPoint that people don't even know about. So I guess that's where it starts, right? I was always interested in case competitions. It was something I explored during my first year. I did a case comp and I loved it. I was like, that was genuinely fun. And I kept doing as many. I did over 8 case comps in my first year. And after that, I was like, there was something missing, because I was never able to like place first. And that was because every time the case comp team of Robin was beating me. And that was when I decided, I was like, hey, you know what? If you can't beat them, join them.
Exactly.
And I knew I wanted to be part of the team then and there. And that's what I did. In my second year, I aimed to have been in the team. And it happened, luckily. It was good. It was an experience. And I think the case comp team has definitely been while there's a lot of work involved in it, it's so fruitful, because it teaches me the skills I need for consulting, right? Case competitions involve a lot of teamwork, right? A lot of work and a lot of these technical and soft skills together. You need to be able to present your presentation. That's a lot of soft skill. Right. If you can't work with your team, your presentation is not going to be good enough, because you're on this time limit, right? You have 6 hours, you get a case for 4 hours, 6 hours, however long. And if you're not splitting up or organizing within your team, you're gone. It's rule number 1. You need to be able to work with your team.
Exactly.
So the case comp team is definitely a good work ex, even though it's a student club. I really don't think about it like that, because it's more of like a team. Other things involve Global Research and Consulting Group, which is the GRC group. Well, there I haven't actually started the consultancy work yet.
Okay.
But I'll be getting into that soon. So so at the moment we were more looking for clients to work with, so non-profits that we can work with. So I think in a couple of weeks we'll be going into the actual project. But yeah, that's the main work linked to consulting directly. But I did work at this private equity firm. It's a search fund called Cloud Street. I was there for about 10 months. Now, even though that's not directly linked to consulting,
Right.
it's tough as a first year to place anything, right? So for me, that job was more about understanding the job requirements, how things work in the actual corporate world. Because till the time you don't actually work anywhere, you're gonna have this arbitrary like idea of the workplace. But once I started working, that was like, okay, these are the expectations. This is the kind of way they work, and it helps you because later on in any kind of work, these are like the foundations. You need to know Excel. You're gonna need to work this way, these softwares. So yeah,
Right, exactly. And this path you took, you were able to learn that you liked consulting, all because you started with, you learned about yourself in your club involvement with the competition team. And that's really important that you get involved in these extracurriculars. You learn about yourself and stuff. In terms of work experience, when you're not involved in the same stream that you want to get into, you still end up learning something at the end of the day.
100%.
Another thing I wanted to talk about was specifically job interviews. And, with COVID, they've changed to a virtual interface. And that created a really significant barrier because you're just in front of your screens. Maybe you're in your bedroom doing a job interview that's very vital to your career path. And do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like this entire Zoom interview thing has a lot of pros and cons, I would say. And I think, again, it depends on you as a person as well, because some people like this fact, because people who don't enjoy having interviews in person would be okay with the fact that they're talking to their screen. I mean, for them,
Right.
They don't even have to look at the person technically, right? You can swipe the screen off and you're just looking into the laptop. So for some people with that kind of anxiety, I guess it is better for them. But personally, I mean, I like my in-person meetings. I love in-person interactions. That's why I'm here with you in person,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So it was definitely weird. And I guess I was also scared that, what if my camera goes off? What if something like that happens, right? But again, you need to, that's where I guess changing your environment matters a lot. You need to modulate your environment in a way that you feel motivated.
Yeah.
Right? So whenever I had any of these interviews over the summer, I would make sure that, you're dressed up properly, right? You're dressed up as you would in person. My background was neat and clean. It was nice. It was a good environment. And I really like using a monitor because I feel like, especially in our business field, it's get a monitor. Okay, it will help you. But for interviews especially, it made a huge difference because you could see them on a big screen.
Right.
And the first few of them were definitely weird because I was like but I guess doing online classes definitely helped.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of firms are now getting used to this kind of way as well, so they're making virtual interviews easier.
Oh, yes.
And I guess for them, it's an advantage as well because they don't have to fly into places and all. So honestly, if I were to say, I don't think virtual interviews are going to go away. I just think now it's going to stay as a hybrid model for a while, because for the firms it's a lower cost as well. Why would they spend time and money to get over to different places if they can do it virtually?
Oh,
I
for
think
sure.
that option will always stay. Yeah.
Yeah. And one more thing I want to add to that is when you're going online and doing these interviews, it's good that, as you said, you like to have a monitor for your interview and you dress nice as you would for an in-person interview. And I think that's a really good thing that shows that you're able to adapt to a new environment, and I know the employers will like that for sure. Lastly, I want to mention having an online presence and the importance of that. You're on LinkedIn and you have a lot of connections, and you've really built your connection on the internet. So would you like to talk about anything important?
For sure. I mean, this comes to the topic of networking, right? Which honestly, I think is one of the most significant things in today's work environment. We started off with the topic of competitive, right? It's competitive. And the fact is, as harsh or weird as it may sound, getting a high GPA is just no longer enough.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because you look at it from a firm's perspective, they're hiring maybe 50 people, 30 people, whatever the limit is. Maybe even less for some, maybe higher for some. Right? You will have more than that number of people with a high GPA. You're gonna have you will have 100 to 200 people with 3.8 above GPA, right? How do you really differentiate yourself? Now, your extracurriculars definitely help, but again, there's a lot of people doing that today too.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why I think the significance of networking comes in, because now the idea of networking, generally what people think is like, oh, you're talking to people to get a job. It's not that. It's more about, if you're able to talk to people, they understand you better, so that when the interview comes, they're not just sticking to those list of questions that they've been given by the firm. You need to understand it from the employer perspective. They're all humans at the end of the day, right? They have a list of questions that they've been told they need to ask you. After that, again, a lot of people just memorize the answers to these questions, so you're gonna have repetitive answers from everybody. Again, how do you differentiate yourself, right? If you've spoken to these people before, they know much more about you rather than just your technical aspects. Nobody's asking you to organize a coffee chat and then talk about just your work. You shouldn't be doing that, right? You try to get to know them. Try for them to understand you, right? Just more than your technical aspects. They're gonna see your resume. They're gonna have your interview. They're gonna know about your technical and academic achievements. But if they can understand how you are as a team player or as a person, it will make them want you, right? The objective is that the firms want to hire you, right? How do you do that? You want to establish the connection with them, and they'll be like, I would love this guy to be on my team.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but networking is probably the only way to kind of do that properly. I guess that's the only way I can think of. And it's not easy. It's not easy to just start networking, and a lot of people wouldn't even know where to start. Hell, even I didn't, right? But I think you need to, it's all about steps. If you're a first, second year, you need to reach out to upper years, right? Have coffee chats with upper years, because that prepares you for coffee chats with actual industry people. You need to practice it. It doesn't just come, you can't just go in a coffee chat and be fine. There's a lot of things that go into it, right? You can't just ask them questions that's going to waste their time. If you ask an employer a question that could easily be found online, you've just wasted that time.
Exactly.
They have busy schedules. They're not going to want to tell you, oh, recruitment starts in November. You can look that up online. That's the thing. So that's where the prep work comes. So you talk to our upper years. Your upper years will, I guess, give you a list of names or something about different companies. Then you start cold calling, right? You start emailing. You send 500 emails. Hope to get 3 to 4 back.
Yeah.
At the end, you need one yes, right? Even from interviews or different coffee chats, if even one out of those 10, 20, whatever chats you've done can help you obtain a job later on, it matters.
Yeah. And just reiterating what you just said, it's really unnatural at first, and then as soon as you start putting yourself out there, and you learn more, and you learn under people who are experienced, it becomes more of a daily activity for you.
Yeah, it becomes part of the routine. In fact, I was speaking to one of the alumni at U of T. He was a Rotman student. He started at Deloitte a couple years back, right? I spoke to him the first time. It was relatively formal. Of course, it was the first time we were talking and all. The second time, here's the thing. Your coffee chats cannot be just like a one-time thing and you never talk to them again. Because you haven't developed a connection then. Your idea is to make a connection in a way that, they're like your mentor. You can ask them later on. So this guy, I spoke to him for the second time. And when I did so, it became very informal, right? I knew he was being informal with me as well, because the type of language he was using wasn't just formal. He was being informal with me.
Right.
That's when you know that, okay, if I need help, I can ask him for something or stuff like that.
Yeah. And that's how you establish your connection.
Pretty much. It's, that's how it goes.
All right. So now I want to thank you for coming, Kush, and
yeah, of course.
I hope I've made it clear that you're really accomplished and
giving me too much credit. That's a fact. But it's been nice. I think after the first year online, not seeing anybody, and because I was in Singapore for the first year, right? My time difference was a nice 12 hours, and you've worked with me before.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
You know that a lot of the times it would be 2 a.m. I'm in a meeting. It was very normal.
Yeah.
I remember I was in a case competition, I guess, not to like ramble on, but I was in a case competition and it had started at 3:30 a.m. my time. So by the presentation started, we had finished at 3:30 the presentation, and the judges came at about 5 a.m. Right?
Right.
And my background was just pitch dark because I was in front of my balcony. And the first question my judge actually asked me, but let's just pause for a second. Where are you? And I told him I'm in Singapore, and he's like, and what's the time there? I said, oh, it's 5:15 a.m. And he said, and you're doing this at 5:15 a.m. And I could have very well just not have done that case comp, but it's the mentality you need to treat like. It was hard. It was really annoying, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
And you have the will to do it, and you're really committed. And an element to that is because you really like what you're doing.
Yeah. Again, that's the thing, right? If you're enjoying it, you're gonna go the extra mile for it at the end of the day.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. To wrap it up, this is it. Do you have any advice you can give? Any last words to early university students?
I guess this is the most important thing that I have learned in 1 year of university, and that's it. That's that. Really don't just blindly follow what other people are doing.
Right.
Just because someone's doing X or Y and because they've said that this is gonna happen, it's the worst thing you can do is just go like, oh, I really want to follow what he's doing. Yeah, no. You're very different. Everybody is just super unique, and till the time you don't take out time to explore what you are about, what you like, what you need to do, you will not be happy on later on. Don't follow people blindly. Do what you actually are good at, right? Simple as that.
Wow, that was a very strong note to end on. Thank you very much.
Oh, for sure. Thanks for having me here, man.
Right.
Bye.
So, though we kept it relatively casual, there's a lot you can unpack from this for yourself. I want to highlight the importance of discovering yourself, figuring out what works best for you so you can do what you love. It's more than just that. It's also about what you will do to achieve your goals, and if you're doing what you love, then you'll have no problem going the extra mile. We talked about putting yourself out there in order to explore what your interests are, and most importantly, I'll leave on this following note. Success is subjectively defined. It's important to take the time to understand yourself and say, what is success to me? And that's where we begin to unlock our full potential, to really become the best versions of ourselves. That's all I wanted to say for today, and be sure to check out Kushagra's LinkedIn. This video will be on YouTube, so I'll have his link in the description. Thanks for listening, and I really hope you enjoyed and took something out of this. Take care. Bye.